Hellcat.
What's up, over here, back at getting another video. Today we are making an NFL QB tiers list. I just wanted to show you guys my honest opinion for every single quarterback in the NFL on this list right now. So this is a list that's, I think, is pretty accurate of quarterbacks. I mean, in terms of like starters and stuff. I don't know if Nick Foles is on this list. A couple guys might not be on it. Oh, actually, Nick Foles is on this list. Never mind. They should be all 32 NFL starting quarterbacks though. And I'm just going to go through every single one of them. Just a quick little video for you guys to see where I grade these guys at. So we're going to start with Alex Smith. The tiers are elite, borderline elite, above average, average, and below average. So we're going to give Alex Smith, obviously an elite average, not elite. We're going to give him an average rating. He's just an average quarterback. He plays pretty solid, but nothing spectacular. He isn't like an amazing quarterback by any stretch, but he's not terrible either. He's just a solid, like, plug-and-play game manager, really. So, I mean, I don't know. Next quarterback is Josh Allen, and I'm going to have him as an average QB as well, only because his rookie season was just okay. He has a lot of upside, but he's not an above-average QB yet. So, I think he could next year crack the top above-average, maybe borderline elite thing, if he plays really well. He also never have a lot of weapons at Buffalo, though, so, I mean, you can't really take that on him too much, but we'll see what happens. Next is Baker Mayfield. I'm going to put him in the borderline elite category because Baker Mayfield, if with another season like he did this year, if he can lead the Browns to playoffs next year, I consider him definitely an elite quarterback. So yeah, it's just Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield, to be completely honest with you. I think he's a great quarterback. I think that he should be in the elite category, but after his rookie season, a lot can go wrong for him in 2019. I hope it does not, but Baker Mayfield needs to put up another good year and just show everyone that he is an elite player and it's not just a one-year thing. So you can't really give any rookies an elite status at quarterback because so many things, there's so many moving pieces. So you guys see what Baker does next year. I think with a good year next year, he's definitely in that elite category. I personally put him in it. Next is Ben Roethlisberger. I'm going to put him in that borderline elite category as well. I'm a Steelers fan. I've watched a lot of Ben Roethlisberger. Only reason I don't have him in the elite category is because of the dumb decisions he makes. He led the league passing yards last year. I think he was definitely there in touchdowns too. But he threw a lot of interceptions, a lot of dumb throws from Ben Roethlisberger. I think you'll only see him get better, though, because Antonio Brown is gone. He's not going to be begging for targets. You can finally spread the ball around a little bit more. You got Juju, James Washington, Dante Moncrief, and Deontay Johnson. There's a lot of good weapons down there in Pittsburgh for him now. He can finally spread the ball a bit better now. I think you'll see what happened to Matthew Stafford in Detroit when Calvin left. Happened to Ben Roethlisberger. He doesn't put the super flashy numbers, but will play a lot more safe with the ball in his hands. Next, we're going to go to Drew Brees. Drew Brees, definitely in that elite tier for me. Would have been the MVP if it wasn't Patrick Mahomes, so we're going to keep him in the elite tier. Nothing, little bit, like really little nothing said about that. So, next to Cam Newton, I'm going to put him, and honestly I'm going to put him in the above average category. He's definitely not the tier, he's definitely above guys like Alex Smith and Josh Allen, but not anything better than Baker Mayfield or Ben Roethlisberger. So, I mean, Cam Newton just inconsistent with his arm ability. You can tell he was injured last year for sure. He's a great athlete, though. When he's really on, he's on. I think he can be a borderline elite player. But he really is just, at this point in his career, he's older. He's going to start to lose that athletic ability. He's really just not the MVP caliber player he was in 2015, 2016. And for that, I'm going to put him in the above average quarterback. So next, we're going to move on to Derek Carr. And I think he's just bang on average. A lot of Raiders fans love him. I don't see why. I've watched him. I've never gone like, wow, he's amazing. You know, I've watched him play against some good teams. He's never lit anything up to make me say, wow, he's a great quarterback. So he's in my average category. He's not bad. He's not great. I definitely would put Allen above both of those two, but he's not good enough to be like in Cam Newton's territory, if it makes any sense. But I don't think he's any better than Alex Smith, I'm being completely honest. Just younger, getting paid a lot more. Next, we got Jameis Winston. And for now, I'm going to put him in the average spot as well because he really just hasn't shown anything. He showed some promise at the beginning of his career, but really hasn't shown anything the last year or two to make me say, wow, he's great. But he's okay. So he's really on the bust territory. I really could have put him right here if I really wanted to be mean to him, but I'm not going to be mean to him. I'm going to put him here on the average list. Next, we have Kirk Cousins. I'm going to put him right here in the above average list. Kirk Cousins, very accurate passer. He's more of a game manager in Minnesota right now, but he really is a very solid player. He's definitely above Alex Smith, Josh Allen, and Derek Carr and Jameis Winston, but he's not above. I really wouldn't have him any higher than Cam Newton on my list, so that's kind of where he sits for now. Next, we got Dak Prescott. I'm going to put him in the average territory. He's just an average thrower. He's an awesome athlete, but he's just an average thrower. He's fun to watch, to be honest. I don't mind watching him. I just don't like the Cowboys. That's kind of why I'm being mean to him here. A lot of people put him in the above average territory. I really wouldn't because he just is average. I'm going to put Sam Darnold here in the above average territory. I have him like borderline average. He's better than all the guys in the average category, but a little bit. He's the worst guy in the above average category, if it makes any sense. I'd take Cam Newton or Kirk Cousins over Sam Darnold at this point in his career. But next year or two, like I said, Sam Darnold could be in that borderline elite territory. He had a really solid season last year. I'm not the hugest Sam Darnold fan, but if he continues his success in the NFL like he didn't have a phenomenal year last year, but he was okay, especially considering he had a bad offensive line, not a great running game, and average receivers. So we'll see what happens. As of right now, he's my above average quarterback. He's definitely the worst quarterback in the above average line right now. We'll see. Then we got Eli Manning, and I'm starting a Giants franchise. Madden 20 comes out, and I'm not looking forward to using Eli Manning. I'm going to have him in the below average category just because honestly, he is an okay quarterback. He's not better than any of the guys on the average list, though. Eli, I don't mind him. I don't hate Eli at all. I kind of like him. He's done a lot of cool stuff in his career. He's won 2 Super Bowls, beaten Tom Brady. He's done a lot of good stuff. But he's at this point in his career, you can't look at those things and go, man, he's an above average quarterback. He's not. He's average to below average at best. I had to put someone below average. I think it's gonna be Eli Manning. Next, we got Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's definitely an average guy. Look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's been an inconsistent starter, but he's been a consistently okay backup. So we're going to put him in the average territory just because he's always available, but he's not consistent enough to be an everyday starter in the NFL. He's probably the worst quarterback in the average category. He probably could be in the below average guy, but I'm not going to put him there because I want to rip on him too bad because I do like what he's wearing in that picture. Dude looks like a beast. I'm just kidding. He looks actually stupid. But I'm not going to be too mean to him today. Maybe it's just the way I'm feeling today. But I'm going to put him in the average category. Next, we got Nick Foles. I'm going to put Nick Foles. A lot of people are going to hate me for this. I'm going to put him in the average category as well. I've never been a huge fan of Nick Foles. He turned it on in the Super Bowl and played well. And he played well for a great Eagles team, though. You got to imagine, too. He's Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Golden Tate. He has a lot of good weapons there in Philly. And I'm forgetting guys, too. There's a lot of good receivers in Philly. And he had a good offensive line, good run game in his entire 2 years there. When they won the Super Bowl, they had a great defense too. So you can't say Nick Foles is this, that, and that amazing. He could be a system QB. Last time he left Philadelphia, he played pretty bad. So we'll see what happens in Jacksonville. But heading into the season, I was an average quarterback. He could play great in Jacksonville, and I'll move him up. But as of right now, he's an average quarterback on my list. Next, we have Jared Goff. I'm going to put Jared Goff in the above average. If you ask me, he's kind of a system guy. He's not really worth the number 1 pick he got in 2016. I want to put him in the above average list anyway because he is definitely better than Alex Smith, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott. He's better than everyone on that list. Arguably, he's not as... you could argue a guy like Nick Foles just because he's won more. I don't know, but I'm going to have him in the above average list for sure. Sam Darnold is continuing to be that lowest rated quarterback in the above average list, though, for me. Next, we have Matt Ryan. So we're going to put Matt Ryan here in the borderline elite category. He's been a consistent quarterback throughout his entire career. The Falcons have been always great when he's been around there, but he's had great weapons too. But that can't be a knock on him necessarily. But he's played great with what he has. He's made the best of it. He won the MVP in 2016, I believe, and he's just been pretty solid since. So I'm having the borderline elite category. Next, we have Jimmy G. As much as I'd like to put him in the borderline elite category from what we've seen off him in the past, he's going to have to go in the above average list. He's not really put any full season together in San Fran to show us anything. 2019 is going to be a big year for him. He's going to really show everyone whether he's worth that paycheck he's getting or not. So that's about all I got to say for him for now. Jimmy G, what I've seen of him, I like to put him in that borderline elite category because I think he really could be special in San Fran, in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But as of right now, he's above average. Next, we have Joe Flacco. Flacco, we're going to put in that average category as well. He's going to be starting this year for Denver, and then Drew Lock will take over at some point this season or next season. Joe Flacco, average in Baltimore. I wouldn't say he's below average, say he's average. He's got the arm talent to be an okay QB in the league, but he just hasn't put anything together since his Super Bowl run with Baltimore back in 2012. So, he really hasn't, 2013 I think it was. But he doesn't really show anything since then, so can't really go crazy on him right now. Next we have Case Keenum. Case Keenum, I'm going to have as a below-average guy. He has below-average traits. He doesn't have a spectacular arm. He's more of a dink-and-dunk kind of guy. He had a great career in Minnesota in his 1 year there. But really, he just hasn't... When he gets to some good supporting cast, he's okay. But in Washington, he will not be the guy. He might start a couple games, but Dwayne Haskins to take over there at some point this season. So I can't really give him a ton of credit for what he's done. I mean, he's kind of like just taken the nice car he has and driven it. So next we have Lamar Jackson, and I like to watch Lamar Jackson. He's just an average pocket passer. I'm going to put him in the average category. I'm about to put it in above average right now. I would take him over any guy in that list besides Josh Allen probably. I'd take Allen's upside and his arm ability, but as of right now, Lamar Jackson has just done more in terms of winning with a team. Baltimore's a great defense. Didn't have great receivers last year. Jackson had an okay time passing, but he was an awesome runner there. This year, we'll really have to determine if he's above that above average rating. I consider putting him in the average category, but there's so many other quarterbacks on this list. I meant to put a couple of them in the average category, and I don't think I have enough room to put them all in the average category. So we'll see where we end up. Next, we have Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, I like Phillip Rivers a ton. He's definitely underrated. I'm going to put him in the borderline elite category. He's done a lot with what he had in San Diego and LA. So really, he hasn't had the greatest weapons, but he's always been pretty solid and pretty consistent. Next to Andrew Luck, that's pretty easy for me, honestly. I'm going to put him in the elite category. When Andrew Luck is healthy, his availability has been definitely an issue for him, but last year you saw what he could do. MVP candidate, in my book at least, and I think he's definitely a special QB in this league. There's not very many special QBs. He's definitely one of them. So next, we're going to do Marcus Mariota. I wanted to put him in the average category. Yeah, I'm going to put him in the above average category. He's definitely the worst quarterback in the above average category, though. He's borderline average. He's an okay passer, but he's a great athlete. He's like Lamar Jackson. I'd say he's a little bit more fine-tuned as a passer, but nothing special by any stretch. Next is Mitchell Trubisky. I have to put him in the above average category as well. He's just okay. Like, I'd say him or Mariota is the worst two QBs in the above average category. I can't really say much about him otherwise. He's just okay. Actually, you know what? For the sake of continuity, I'm going to put him in the average category just because I really don't think he's been a phenomenal player in this league. I think he's had a great supporting cast with Chicago, but we'll see what happens for him. A lot of people are going to hate on me for that one. They think he's like the next, the savior of the Bears, but really the savior of the Bears is Nagy, Matt Nagy. He's been great for the Bears, and he's put together an awesome defense for Mitchell Trubisky to sit behind and then throw from a pretty solid offensive line to some pretty okay receivers, and has had two great running backs in Chicago. So we'll see, but Mitchell Trubisky could raise on this list or lower on this list depending on how he has a year this year. He could definitely be considered an average quarterback as of right now, but really all he can do is go up. I don't really see him as a below average guy. He's just in that intermediate there. So next we have Patrick Mahomes, MVP. He's obviously in the below average. I'm just kidding. He's obviously going in the elite category. Patrick Mahomes is a beast. Love Patrick Mahomes being the cover of Madden 20. He's just an absolute monster. So, yeah, heading into the next quarterback, we have Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. I'm putting him in the below average category just because he hasn't ever put anything together since he's had some great teams. He just hasn't been able to step up and make the plays like a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson or Matt Stafford even or Carson Wentz. And he's just not in that. I don't think he's even in an average category at this point in his career. I think he's below average. I'm a little bit critical because I'm a Steelers fan. I do like the Steelers. I hate the Bengals. I mean, that's definitely a little bit of a bias. But I don't think it's that bad at the point where I'm a little bit off here. I think he's definitely below average starter in the league right now. We'll see what happens, though. Cincy, I think, will end up moving on from him in the 2020 draft with a deeper QB class. I think they should have been in the running for the Josh Rosen trade, but they didn't. So we'll see what happens there. Next, we have Russell Wilson. I also have him as an elite quarterback. A lot of people think he's in that borderline elite class. I think he's definitely one of the more special QBs in the league in terms of what he can do as a runner and a passer, and he's just a great clutch performer, and I love Russell Wilson. Love seeing him play. He's just a different kind of quarterback that you don't see a ton of success out of, and he's just really played great. And man, he's got that paycheck now. Gotta see him. So, elite quarterback Russell Wilson. Thank you. Next, we have Aaron Rodgers. As much as I'd like to say Aaron Rodgers is a borderline elite player, he has been borderline elite these last 2 years, I think. But he's overall one of the best QBs ever in the history of the NFL. So we gotta give him some credit there. I'm gonna have to give him that elite rating there. Next, we have Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen, the new quarterback in Miami. I have to give him that average rating. Not gonna lie, I can't give him an above average rating because he's never played great in Arizona. He hasn't had the best supporting cast in Arizona. Obviously, not a great offensive line, not a great receiver core. A pretty good running back, David Johnson, but not even very good defense either. So you can't give him too much guff for that because it's not really his fault. But man, you gotta kind of take that in consideration a little bit there. Next, we're gonna do Ryan Tannehill. I'm gonna skip Stafford for now because I'm gonna give a little bit of in-depth thing on that, just a little bit though. Put Tannehill in the below average category as well, just because these three guys, Eli, what's his face, Case Keenum, and Andy Dalton have all been available. They've never really had any serious injury problems. And Andy Dalton kind of, but these guys have all been healthy-ish, and especially like Keenum and Manning have been very reliable. Ryan Tannehill he's been a above average player at times. He's also been average at times. But his biggest thing is his consistency on the field. He's never on the field. He's always hurt. So I'm going to put him in the below average category. Probably the best backup QB in the league now. But he's in Tennessee now, so whatever. Next we have Carson Wentz. I'm going to put him in the borderline elite category. A lot of people don't like that. I'm going to put him in the borderline elite category because I do think he's a great quarterback. I love him. I think he's better than Jared Goff, personally. That's just my opinion. I think Wentz will put together a pretty good season in Philadelphia this year. He's got to get that Nick Foles noise out of his head, though, man. I think he's kind of got it in his head. He's got to take over this team again. He's got to show everyone he's the captain, he's the leader, he's this and that. Because he struggled a bit last year. And so I think he's definitely talented enough to pull off another good year, though, in Philly. So we'll see what happens there. He could definitely get lower on my list, but I think he's definitely a borderline elite player. Maybe the worst quarterback in the borderline elite list, if it'll make anyone feel better, but my number one player in the borderline elite, probably like Ben Roethlisberger, then Baker, then Matt Ryan, then Philip Rivers, and then Carson Wentz. That makes anyone feel better about that rating, but I don't know. I think he's a borderline elite player. Next, we have Tom Brady. Obviously, he's the GOAT. He's 100% getting that elite status at quarterback. And then next to Deshaun Watson, I'm going to have to put him in the average spot. He's never really had a spectacular supporting cast in Houston. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put him above average just because he's a good athlete. What he can do with him as a runner. He's like a more improved Dak Prescott. If you ask me, he's a better passer than Dak Prescott is, but not by much. But I definitely put him over Dak Prescott. I think he's the worst QB in my above average ratings, though. Next, you have Matthew Stafford. Lions fan, obviously, you can see. I'm going to put him in that above average right now. A lot of people go, well, if you're a Lions fan, you should put him in the borderline elite. No, Stafford's not a borderline elite quarterback at this point right now. He come off one of the worst seasons of his career. Can't give him anything above average. He's definitely above average starting this league, though. He's a good enough quarterback for Detroit. I think he's our guy for sure. I love Matthew Stafford. He's a gunslinger. He's shown some inconsistencies of decision-making in the past, but as of right now, I think he's a good quarterback. I definitely think he's at least top 2 on this list in terms of above average players. I think it's probably him as the number 1 guy in the above average, and then it's probably like either Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff, probably. But I think he's definitely that borderline elite or the borderline above average. I mean, like there's definitely if there's a gray area here, he'd be like in the middle of these two. But yeah, I think he's definitely in the more above average than a borderline elite player. Guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the Enzo408's channel. And Enzo408, obviously. I'm Enzo408. And yeah, football. I love football. So be sure to subscribe if you like football too. If you're a Lions fan, also be sure to subscribe and putting out a lot of off-season videos for the Detroit Lions in this coming summer. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.